Good morning, and welcome to A Better World with Julann and Fran. I'm Julann.
And I am Fran, and today we have our guest, Ida. Welcome, Ida.
Thank you for
Thank you for
joining.
having me. Thank you
And
for having me.
well, we're happy to have you. And may I ask you to talk a little bit about what it is that you're doing to make the world a better place?
Sure, I would love to share it. I am a hypnotherapist, and I'm also founder a company. It's a virtual company called Unleash and Grow. And there we create meditation spaces. It's actually free online events for communities to just come together. And we organize courses and also retreats are coming in the future.
Nice.
Yes, and I truly believe to bring peace in the world, we need to work on inner peace within us. That's like the most important. That's where it all begins. So, through my work, I help people to release any fears, anxieties, or any negative patterns that are holding them back to be best version of themselves. And when people work through those limitations and get connected within and create loving relationships with themselves, the inner peace begins. And that radiates to people around them, to their families, to their communities, and it keeps expanding from there on like a ripple effect. And I'm very passionate about it.
Oh, I can tell. Yes.
Yeah,
How
that's
long
great.
have you been doing this?
About 5 years.
That's great. What was your inspiration to begin it?
My inspiration was my own healing. I did not even know hypnotherapy existed. I was a dental hygienist. And in one of my work days, I had a patient who was 50-year-old man, all grown, buff and tough. And he was terrified of dentistry. I would literally clean two teeth and I would need to take a break to let him literally cry and shake it off and breathe. And since he hasn't been to dentist in a while, we had him come back for more cleanings. And he came back, I think within a month. I saw his name on the schedule. I'm like, ooh, get ready. And he came in and he was so relaxed. He was so okay. And I was like, what did you take? He's like, I did hypnotherapy. And I was like, what is hypnotherapy? And then he explained to me how he shared with a friend how terrified he was of dentistry. And he has all these treatments coming up. And the friend was like, I know somebody who does hypnotherapy. So he
Wow.
told me more about it. I was fascinated. And me myself was suffering from really debilitating social anxiety.
Hmm.
I could not be in groups at all. So I decided to try what I got to lose. And oh my God, it changed my life. And from there on, I started digging and digging more on how subconscious mind works, reading a lot of books. And I decided to just go back to school and learn even more and get the certification and spreading the benefits
That's
that I received and I witnessed my patient receive.
and
That's
it's great because you can help your clients and you could tell them about your own experiences because everybody's leery and they're worried, right? They're afraid to try something new. So I'm sure that helps.
Yes, yes. And a lot of them have negative representation from media, and they will come with all sorts of questions. And yeah, it's very good to share my story and show them that actually really helps.
That's so nice.
yes. You mentioned the negative representations in the media. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like how is hypnotherapy presented in the media?
In media, it's presented. I don't know if you know about a movie, Get Out.
Yeah.
Yes. So a lot of my patients think that I will do something that they don't want. And I explain to them that hypnotherapy is completely within their control. Like in the middle of session, if they feel like this is not for me, they can open their eyes and they can stop the session. And that it's completely self-guided. All I do is I guide you through the steps, and I can't do anything against your will. I cannot make you bark like a dog. I cannot make you anything you don't want to do. So if you came to me and you say, I want to quit smoking because my wife wants me to quit smoking, I can't help you because that's not something that you want within. Subconscious mind knows. And even if you are doing it to just please somebody, there's no way to do anything you don't want to do unless this is something coming from within.
Do you
And
find some, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
it's okay. Oh, I was done.
Do you find that if someone comes in and something, that's a perfect example, they want to quit smoking because their wife wants them to, do you find that you have to spend some time just going over and trying to talk them into being open to hypnotherapy, do you find, or do you find that once you start, they're open to going under, or they're more, you know what I mean? Like, I think if they
Yeah,
come in and they really didn't want to do it, but they're trying it because their wife's making them.
right.
Would it be
Right.
hard? It would be hard, right? To even to get them to go under if they don't believe or if they don't, they think it's silly.
Yeah, because it even to go into hypnotherapy, they're guided through certain steps of breathing, relaxing their body. And if they're not following those guidances, then there's no way for them to go into it. It's all within their control.
Right.
Right. And that's a very important thing to for people who want to receive hypnotherapy. That's a very important thing for them to understand that it is not because we've been so misrepresented in movies and television shows that the hypnotherapist especially cannot take control of you and make you do things you don't want to do. You know, you, like you said, you are always in control. If during the session you decide that what the hypnotherapist is saying isn't for you, you can end the session. You can open your eyes and it will be, oh, you know, count up to 5 and it'll be over.
Mhm.
Whereas in the movies and in TV, it looks like a hypnotist can make you, you know, commit murder that you don't want to
Right.
commit.
Be a spy, or you count backwards from 10, you do this and that's it.
Oh, I
You know,
wish it worked that way. I would have teens, my teens do everything.
do you have a conversation, let's say on the phone first, to get a little background so you know how to prepare? Because, you know, like I say, if you're not open to it and you're doing it because your wife's a nag, and you won't even relax, you know what I mean? You can't even, because you're on edge all the time, you know what I mean? So do you try saying, hey, you know, you could do some breathing before you come, or listening to soft music, or, you know, try to get out of your own head before you come in so we could have a better I don't want to say session, experience. You know what I mean? Do you think,
Experience is a good word.
or
Yeah.
yeah, or do you just let them come in and then maybe the first session is working out that stuff? Because you have to convince them this is for you, you know, and you have to have that mindset before we get started. And then I'll make you bark like a dog. No, just kidding. Every time your wife nags you, you're going to bark. No, just kidding. Sorry.
But yes, there are preparatory conversations, right? You do talk to them before they come in for a session.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Right.
I do want to make sure they know what they're getting themselves into because some people will think that this is just like magic stick. They'll come and they'll say abracadabra and they're all fixed.
Right.
And that's not how it works. It does take some work from them too.
Right.
And I do explain them, well, depending what situation they're coming with, the steps that we're going to be taking and the steps that they're going to be taking on their own and possible results. It's never guaranteed
Exactly.
result because everybody's mind works differently. And then I'll have clients ask me, well, how many sessions will it take? And that's another answer I cannot give because it's like going to the gym, right? You don't know. You cannot tell your trainer, how many sessions are going to take for me to lose 20 pounds? No, it
Yeah.
really is up to you. How much work are you putting into? Are you really following up with your diet? Um, and everyone's metabolism is different. So it works the same with the mind. I am so sorry. My dog is like really trying to get in and she's making a noise.
That's okay.
No, let her in. So yeah, I tell them that's exactly how our subconscious mind works. There's so many hoops to go through. One, how resistant you are, and two, how much willing are you? This is
Hi.
Bella. She says
Hi,
hello.
Bella.
Hello.
So yeah, and it varies person to person. So I want them to know upfront if this is the journey they want to embark themselves in and stick through it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very interesting that the way that you described it, you said to get their own blockages out of the way to allow the flow of what they're trying to accomplish. Do you ever encounter people who are resistant to the idea that they have blockages?
Yeah, yeah. And I have people who believe that they don't have any blockages. In fact, they work through all of them, and still self-sabotaging their lives, but then they don't realize it or they don't see it until like in a session, like a mirror, you show it to them. And sometimes it's like, wow, aha moment, but sometimes there's a bypass of like, but you just don't get me.
Yeah. I find that the longer somebody has had a particular issue,
Mhm.
the more difficult it is for them to understand the concept of the secondary benefit. Well, we call it the secondary benefit. Really, it is the benefit. There's some reason you developed that problem, or there's some reason that you've had that problem your whole life. And the longer that they've had it, the more difficult it is for them to understand that there's some benefit to them having it, whatever it is that they think with their conscious mind they don't want, but with their subconscious mind, that's who they are.
Yeah.
They have the writer's block, or they have the smoking, or whatever it may be. Do you find that that happens with you and your clients as well?
Yes, definitely. A lot of times when we have certain blockages, I feel like they created at some point of our lives to protect us, to benefit us. And maybe it did at that point of their life. But right now, it's not serving. And sometimes it's difficult to see, but what shows is the patterns that are happening in your conscious life. Is this really benefiting you? And if it's not benefiting you, then what is underlying cause that's running this pattern? And that's where I get them curious, and that's when we start digging deeper in to help them to uncover those patterns and hopefully change it to something healthier if they're open to it.
Do you
Yeah.
give them something to do at home in between your sessions? I don't know. Do you do weekly or twice a week, depending on the person, I assume?
Yeah, depending on a person, I do. I give them the sometimes I give them the recordings, but also there's some exercises that we do. Um, Again, person to person, it's different. But number one thing I have them do is some breathing exercises, but also there's this thing that I've learned helped me tremendously is balancing your inner world and outer world. Because a lot of people who are going through some anxieties and some overthinking, what they do, they tend to be very stuck in their inner world. They're so focused inwards, and it's good to get them out of that focus and balance it out with going on outside them. So, one thing I have them do is take a nature walk and pay attention to something that excites them. Maybe there's a little bird sitting, and notice the bird, notice the feelings the bird is giving you, and really like savor it in and take your phone, open the notes app, and just write down bird. And I want you to find 10 items like this. And before going to sleep, opening the note and going over the list, bird. Remember how you saw the bird. Remember the feeling it gave you. Generate that feeling. And going down the list. And what it does, it helps with training your brain to also notice the outside goodness going on, not just focusing on negative things that are happening inside, but also noticing good things outside and connecting to nature. It tends to rebalance us and rewire us. Yeah.
That's a great idea. That's teaching them mindfulness.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we tend to be so busy in our day-to-day lives that we don't take those moments to notice things like a bird in a, sitting on a branch, or a cloud in the sky, or something like that. We're constantly thinking about what I'm doing the rest of the day, this next appointment that I have, the phone conversation I have to have later, whatever it may be. And people will say that fear and anxiety are created by living for the future, and taking those moments just to be more mindful is really very calming.
Yes. Being mindful, being present.
I don't know about you guys. I'm pretty much a happy person. I don't get in bad moods too often, but if I catch myself, let's put it that way, if I notice, that's funny, I do, I'll notice that I'm a little annoyed or something, like, and I think to myself, well, now why am I, you know what I mean? Like, I am lucky enough to know when I feel a certain way so I can take myself out of it and go outside or meditate or do something to catch that before it turns into ruining your whole day. You know what I mean? Like, try to, if you can do those things that you said, if you could just catch yourself, if you could look at the list, or you could look outside, or you could find a joy, then it changes your perception, your perspective, and everyone else's, right? Because you're in a better mood. So then the people around you are in a better mood. And even if you are struggling with gambling, or, any kind of addiction or smoking, I'm sure that you get into I shouldn't say I'm sure, I can imagine that you would be resistant, and also you could be angry, right? Because what's the big deal? It's not hurting you. Why do you know what I mean? And if you go off on a tangent, where if you could catch those things, especially when you're struggling through something, I think your journey would probably be a little easier. So that's very nice that you do those things for people to help them.
Yeah. Yeah. I asked them exactly what you said, going on tangent, like catching yourself on time, not to go down the rabbit hole of the negative thoughts that are taking you down, because it can sometimes take to, very difficult places. And we need to know to be mindful and stop and breathe and just be present and enjoy the life as it goes on now. A lot of people tend to live in the past or in the future, and that's when it happens. Or for some people, they have a lot of negative thoughts and beliefs about themselves. And that's another exercise that I have them do, is for every thought that comes, don't fight it. Just write down, I am, whatever the thought came, I am stupid. Just write it down, and now think back to your life and find three opposites of that. And when you come up with like the ideas or evidences, I should say, of three times where you were not stupid, in fact, you were a genius, and that really changes the way people start seeing themselves, because it's all about how you see yourself and the beliefs you have about yourself. And that another thing that really helps them to recalibrate and come back to themselves and start seeing themselves in a different light.
We've said
Yeah,
that before too. Start the day, be nice to yourself. Say something nice to yourself. Think something nice about yourself. Not I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm that. But hey,
Mhm.
today's gonna be a great day. I'm whatever.
yeah, yeah, that's an excellent way to start the day. Something wonderful is going to happen today.
Right. It's gonna be a
Just
great day.
looking forward to it, and looking, and then expecting that to happen and looking for it, because then you're far more likely to find something wonderful if you're expecting something wonderful to happen. Um, yeah, it's great the way, and you mentioned three times. You look for three examples of evidence that that negative thought is untrue. And a lot of times I'll tell my clients to do things three times too. There's something magical about the three times. Like if they say, I'm often talking people out of claiming illness or claiming, infirmities or something like that. They'll call it my, and then they'll say the name of it, and I say, if you accidentally say that three times, say the. or this moment of, or something, or this thing from which I'm healing, or something like that. And you say it 3 times, and it does seem to have a sort of a magical effect.
Right, right. That absolutely, and it kind of dissociates you from the disease because you don't want to be identifying with it. You want to separate yourself from it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And people
that's
don't realize how powerful their minds are, that when you say my something, you really do tell your brain, this is who I am. This is my description, you know. Whereas if you separate yourself from it a little bit, you're, it's not as, it doesn't have as much power over you. So,
wow.
yeah. Do you work with individuals and with groups?
Yes, well, mainly individuals. I did start doing some groups, but it's mainly a guided imagery groups where we take on a journey on either meeting your higher self, or sometimes we do the inner child work, or sometimes we do this thing, I call it a garden work. It's when in imagery, we go into a garden and I just have them to bring forward whatever image comes in their garden. Sometimes it can be nice and beautiful gardens, maybe sometimes it's ugly garden with which is not so taken care of. And then we go forward into another garden, which garden they would like to have. That's the future of they would want to have. And really have them take care of that garden and turn it into beautiful place they want to be in. And that helps people to kind of like through the imagery take an inventory of what's going on in their life and what would they want it to be. And for me, when I did that, for me, it really gave me this internal connection and feeling to my garden. And whenever now I see some shower out of the way in my life, I really go in there and I really take my time and take care of it. And so, yeah. And as we go to just like continue creating our own life, because we are the owners of our life, things don't just happen to us, we make them happen. And all starts in our mind when we focus on things we want to create. That's exactly what we're going to create. But sometimes we just let things to be in auto flow and we're still creating, maybe not the things that we want.
It's true, yes. That can be a very difficult concept to get people to understand, that however you may feel about any particular issue in your life, whether you consider it to be a good thing or a negative thing, it's still something that you've created. And sometimes people will go right to, well, it's not my fault. I didn't why would I do something negative? But you're not telling them it's their fault. You're not blaming them for it. You're
Right.
telling them you have the power to change this thing.
Mhm.
It can be a very empowering. And what a wonderful metaphor a garden is.
Yeah, because it's all
That's
Yeah.
growth and rebirth. Yeah, it's nice.
absolutely, yeah. Growing.
Yeah.
And did you think of that on
Thank
your own?
you. I have not actually. I have collected it from different sources. I love taking different kind of courses all the time, and I took courses from I think I got it from like 3 different people, and I kind of pieced it together to make my own.
Nice.
First, I did it for me to work with myself. And as I loved it so much, I shared it with some of my friends, and they were like, "Oh, can you do it to us?" And then we kind of did like this guided imagery with them. And then from there on, I was like, "Oh, maybe I should try a group." And then I have these group of women who we do meditations with together sometimes. Then I offered it to the group, and they were very excited to try.
Well, that's wonderful. And for
Yeah.
every person that you help in the group, they are then in a better position to go out into the world and spread that positive energy to their family, to their friends, to their coworkers, to, people they don't even know, maybe they encounter in a store or something like that. But you are definitely making the world a better place with each of these people who can then go out and, have the butterfly effect, I think they call it, or the domino
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
Able. Yeah, it's nice.
Yes. And it's a very good feeling to have. It's very rewarding.
Excellent. Do you do any online recordings?
I do not know.
Okay.
Yes, but I do want to start creating courses. It's still in a process. So that
Okay.
would be closest outcome for online recording.
Okay. I don't know if you're aware, but a lot of community colleges are looking for unusual classes. They'll teach things like, soap making, candle making, dance, foreign languages, and a lot of times you can pitch a class to them like using guided meditation um, for improving your life or whatever it may be.
Yeah. Oh my God. I really love the idea.
Yeah,
I'm going to look into that. Thank you
yeah,
for
And where
sharing.
we need those courses? In elementary school.
yeah,
That's what we should do because
yeah.
that's, I think, even politically, not that we want to bring that up, but you see little kids that say things about the state of the world because they hear it from their parents. And they're not always, you know what I mean? You could have whatever views you want, but you want to try to teach these children and everybody else that you can have your views and I can have mine, but we're still mother and father, sister and brother. These things that are going on in our world today are pulling people apart. We need to figure out ways to, get back to love the person for who they are, not what they believe, you know? So if we could do that in younger grades, I think that'd be a great thing to do,
That would be
right?
amazing. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I should research who the person at the elementary school would be to contact
Yeah,
to get that accomplished because I'm sure, we've always had two parties. So there's no reason, and we've gotten along, and there's no reason we can't continue to get along. But in this recent climate, it's like, hate the person who doesn't
right,
agree with and
right,
make sure they
exactly.
know that you hate them and do things to
Right.
make, it's just that's terrible. And we should all be, well, I don't agree with what you're saying, but you're allowed your
Right.
opinion.
Yeah,
I
I
love you
totally
anyway,
agree.
and let's go to the garden. That's what we should be doing instead. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's try to figure out another way to look at it.
Absolutely, yes. So are you, Ida, do you have a particular goal for your business, or is there something that you'd like to see happen with what you're doing?
I would like to have hypnotherapy and guided imagery and um, all the subconscious work and inner work to be more widely available to people because sometimes it can really be expensive. And that's the reason I do want to do my courses is to lower the cost and make it more accessible to people to help themselves, to guide themselves. And maybe I can make it into a hybrid where they can go back and forth between having one-on-one and the course. So that way it's not like they're paying per session
Right.
and it becomes more accessible. Because what I have found with a lot of my clients, they really have certain goal, but they can't afford to get there. And they need several sessions, but that becomes really expensive. So that would be good if they could supplement with something that would help them to get there faster without necessarily needing so many sessions.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful thing. And how do people contact you? Do you have a website?
My website is unleashandgrow.com.
Very
Okay.
nice. And if there was one thing that you would like our audience to take away, if you could pick one thing, I know you've had many great ideas and you do many wonderful things.
Thank
What would
you.
it be?
One thing is to love. Really, just love yourself. You're an amazing human and always find good evidences about yourself and really love people around you because it's very easy to get carried away with negativity going on in the world or within ourselves. And it really is where we put our focus on and we get to choose our experiences.
Love that. That's very good.
That's wonderful. It's very empowering too.
It is.
It allows people to know that they can have the life experience that they want to have as long as they're willing to be conscious of what's happening, how they're thinking, looking for other ways of thinking, and then learning from those other ways of thinking. So that's very empowering. Thank you so much.
You.
Thank you, Ida. And
Thank you.
it's been wonderful talking to you. You're an excellent guest. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It was really nice talking to you too, both of
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. This has been another episode of A Better World with Julann and Fran. Please like and share this video far and wide, and please join us again next time, won't you? Okay, ciao for now.
Bye.